Welcome to Oddball. I'm Charlotte Wilder. That's Amin Elhassan. Amin, the regular season is less than 2 weeks away, which is crazy. I don't even think I realized that until I read this. So we scoured DraftKings for the bets that we found most intriguing leading into this season. We're going to take turns unveiling our favorites and showing them on this beautiful board here that our wonderful
Ooh la la.
team. Yeah, look at that. Amin versus Charlotte, Eastern Conference futures. I love it. Today's all about the Eastern Conference. And because I read this whole intro, Amin, I'm going to keep talking and I'm going to go first.
Sounds fire.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I don't know why I said fire like that.
Sounds fire. Well,
Yeah.
why not? I'm going to shock the world and make a pick that no one would see coming from me, a Celtics fan, and say that Boston is going to have the most regular season wins at plus 185. And I say this, Amin, because last year they were 64-18, which was, I think, like 10 wins more than the second winningest team. And I just feel like even if they drop to, 9 fewer wins, there's still a chance that they could be. It seems like a fairly safe bet, maybe, to me. What do you think?
Allow me to retort. Number one, Porzingis is going to miss a lot of the beginning of the year, perhaps all the way up until January, February. So you're not full strength, number one. Number two, you're not. I mean, if you look at the history of teams that win a lot of games, the next year they win considerably fewer games. Now, some of them go on to lead the league in wins again, like the Warriors did in 2014, 2015, 2016, and 2017. But the reality is, at times, it's like, especially after you win a championship, it's like, all right, kind of been there and done that. I'm just get me to April and May and June. So I think there might be a little let up. I know everyone's upset about the disrespectful summer, including Jason Tatum being asked if his watch was real. I just said, wow, what a wonderful way to continue that theme, everyone. But
they've all got chips on their shoulders. Amin, come on.
I don't know if those chips carry to like Christmas. Do they? I mean, I feel like, start of the season, and after a while you forget about all that and get into it. But you know what? It's your team, and it is a positive money bet. So I respect it. I'm gonna go for value. I went for value, and I was like, give me where the value at. And I went down to Orlando, and I saw Paolo Banchero, 25 plus points per game at plus 155. Because here's one of the really great scoring phenoms in the league. He averaged 20 points a game his rookie year, 22 and a half last year. I think it stands to reason a couple of things. Number one, he's been an improving perimeter shooter. So one more made three, and that gets him to 25 right there. But beyond me kind of relying on him becoming a better three-point shooter, which I think is already happening, I also think that he's going to get to the free throw line more and convert there. And I think that's something that happens with age, with experience. You begin to figure out where the kind of the tells are in the defense and what kind of defenders are anxious defenders. They get quick to leave their feet and be in compromised positions. And then also a respect level you get from the refs. Now you're not a young player or a rookie. You're a vet, and you're going to get those respect calls. This one was easy for me.
Okay. All right. Unlike you, I am not going to rebut that. I think you're right. But I am going to, my second bet, I'm going to take, this is one of my favorites, Amin, that I have here, is the New York Knicks to win the NBA Cup at plus 850. This is the Emirates NBA Cup, previously known as the artist previously known as the in-season tournament. And I feel like the Knicks are, everybody talks about this team being so gritty. Everybody talks about this team never giving up. But now this team has a center who can shoot threes. We've already seen Cat draining threes in preseason games. It gives the team an entirely new look. And I feel like this is a team, too, that, Coach Tom Thibodeau plays these guys 57 minutes in the regular season. So why wouldn't they care about something like the NBA Cup? It's like a chance to win something. I just see the Knicks caring about it a lot. And I think in this case, caring about something like this is kind of what it takes to win it. So I'm gonna take the Knicks. I think that's a fun bet.
I think this is the legacy of the Emirates Cup. It's going to be which team cares, man, and I think that's what's going to influence future generations to care.
Yeah,
and I think everything you said is absolutely correct. If you remember, Charlotte, last year, and when we filled out our brackets, I had Knicks versus Lakers in the final.
You did,
because like these are the two franchises that care the most because they need some semblance of success, and this can deliver. And obviously, the Lakers went on to win it, but I think the Knicks are uniquely positioned, both their talent, because they're talented, but also because they've got a coach who doesn't believe in days off or nights off or meaningless games or whatever, and so they're going to go pedal to the metal. I like it. I like that bet. I agree with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and
I'm gonna need you saying that on a loop. If our producers can cut Amin saying he agrees with me, that would be great.
I like that bet. Is what I said. I didn't. I don't know if you could apply that to everything. Mine, since we're on the Knicks, I saw this bet and it really tickled me, which is Philadelphia to have more regular season wins than New York, plus 130. I'm a fan of this one because basically I'm betting the Sixers are going to be healthier than the Knicks. That's all we're talking about here. That's all we really mean, right?
Yeah.
I think the Sixers have they've had their roster together at least for the summer. These guys have been playing in informals. They've gotten to know each other. They get to camp. They're building chemistry. The Knicks, hey, this is a training camp eve deal.
Yeah.
When was the last time we saw one of those? Oh, that's right, last year with the Bucks. And so I think the Knicks are going to take a little bit just to get accustomed. Remember, Karl-Anthony Towns isn't just playing for a new coach. He's playing for a coach he played for before that he wasn't too fond of. And I think there's still an elephant in the room that needs to be addressed there. I got the Sixers. I got Embiid staying relatively healthy because he doesn't have to do no crazy 75 games or whatever. He's not going to kill himself like he did last year. And I think all their additions are going to help.
I did see, didn't Jared McCain, the new Sixer out of Duke, didn't he have like 3 threes in the last game? I mean, and we saw him at Summer League. And he was
good at Summer League.
He was good at Summer League. And I see what you're saying. I just, I want to tease this out for a second because between Paul George and Joel Embiid, Paul George is older. Joel Embiid keeps getting hurt. You really think that is going to, you think that is a bet you can make given the history of these guys?
Yeah, because on the other hand, we have OG Anunoby and Karl-Anthony Towns, both of whom have missed a lot of time in their careers recently. And we know how good the Knicks have been without OG Anunoby not on the floor. Basically a 500 team. Now, obviously, Towns changes that dynamic significantly. But again, I think for all the concerns we have about Philadelphia, you could levy the same concerns against the Knicks. And so we say, we'll turn injuries off. And I think like the Sixers have a better thing going.
Without injuries, like if both teams stay healthy head to head, who do you think is better on paper?
Sixers.
All right, that's fair.
And the Sixers look, Sixers have an MVP.
Yeah.
What do the Knicks have?
Jalen Brunson.
Right? Okay. Win an MVP, then talk to me.
Well, he won't because he looks too small. We've established that. That's right. All right. My third pick here. I mean, this is sort of a spicy one. I think the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to be in the play-in tournament this year, which is a bet you can make at plus 190 right now. I think a lot of people watching this might say, but Charlotte, they were the 4th seed the last 2 years. To which I say, I know, viewers and listeners, thank you for reminding me. But I think that a lot of the teams in the East got significantly better. I think even talk about the Magic, who didn't have significant moves this offseason, but who are just getting older, who are just getting better. Think about the Knicks adding Karl-Anthony Towns, as we said, the Sixers adding Paul George, the Celtics still being very good. I just feel like the Cavs, yes, I know Donovan Mitchell's great. I just feel like they didn't necessarily do. I could just see it slipping away this year. I could see them slipping to that 9th or 10th spot.
The problem is, Charlotte, all the teams were teams that were in the top 6 last year. So none of them are going to supplant the Cavs in the top 6 and throw them into the back. They're all the teams you just named are all top 6 anyway.
Yeah, but then if they are top 6 and the Cavs are 7th, and then there are more injuries to the Cavs than
no. You're naming 5 other teams and the Cavs. Unless you tell me the Bulls. Okay. All right. Okay.
All right. Whatever. I thought it was a fun pick. Sue me.
It is a fun pick. It's also wildly disrespectful, and the people of Cleveland will not stand for disrespect. They always let me know that. I'm just going to say,
sure, but when I'm right, we can revisit this.
Okay. Yeah, we're not going to revisit any of these. Let's be real. Who revisits picks? Like, unless they were right. When you're right, we do. Yeah, but when you're wrong, they just kind of evaporate into the ether.
When every bet hits, I mean, we will revisit them.
Absolutely. All right, here's my number 3. And I know what you guys are saying. Oh, these are really tame bets. Oh, yeah, win like $10 and over. No, hey, I got one for you. Plus 1,300. Bam Adebayo, Defensive Player of the Year. All right.
Wow.
I know what you're thinking. Look, hey, it's astronomical odds. But here's the thing. Bam has been recognized as one of the best. He is the best defensive player in the league right now. Let me just say that right now. He is the best defensive player in the league. I don't care how many depoys Rudy Gobert has. You cannot tell Rudy Gobert, hey, guard their point guard, guard their wing, guard their center. Like, guard them, not switch onto them. Guard them. That's your assignment. Bam Adebayo, for my money, is the only guy in the league you can do that with. I mean, Draymond Green as well, but he's a little older now. But Bam's the guy. And so, for me, it's been recognized. He's been in that top 3 years and years. I think what happened to Rudy again in the playoffs with the way Luka and the Mavs dismantled him on a very public. I think that's the thing that's going to put the kibosh on, okay, there's Rudy Gobert depoys. And I think people are naturally going to turn and look for the next best thing. Now, I know what you're thinking. What about Victor Wembanyama? What? Victor Wembanyama, I mean, like, he's still young, and we got to see how good the Spurs are going to be, because it's going to be really tough for the depoy to be on the 10th team or the 11th best team in the conference. I think if the Miami Heat are reasonably successful, and obviously they're going to be great defensively, Bam Adebayo is your Defensive Player of the Year.
Here's my rebuttal, I mean, is that Wemby, his blocks are crazy, and I feel like voters will be, because these are awards you vote on. These aren't stats. I feel like voters will be swayed by this alien in Texas, because as a rookie, didn't he finish in the top 3 depoy votes?
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous.
So I see what you're saying. I just don't know that Bam will get the respect. I don't necessarily disagree with you. I just don't know if the voters will see Bam in that same light. But it would be fun if I were proved wrong and you were correct on this one, because Bam's fun. I like Bam.
I'm about to make a parlay on all my picks, by the way.
Oh, dear Lord. Okay. When we come back, our last picks in the East. Welcome back to Oddball. When we last left you, we were halfway through our picks. Let's run through these real quick. I have Boston to have the most wins, New York Knicks to win the NBA Cup, Cleveland to be in the play-in. Amin has Paolo Banchero to average 25 plus points per game, Philly to have more wins than New York, and Bam Adebayo to win Defensive Player of the Year, his spiciest yet. So correct. I'm going to keep us rolling. And I'm going to say, Amin, that Giannis Antetokounmpo, I haven't said his last name in a while. That was tough. Giannis is going to lead the league in points per game. And this is a bet you can make it plus 600. And I think that I'm doing this because everybody knows, obviously, that Damian Lillard went to the Bucks last year, last minute. They didn't have the season they wanted. And we've also learned that they didn't play together much this year. Giannis and Dame did not practice. It wasn't the way as you were talking about with the Sixers, who've been developing this chemistry. So this is a stat that is not dependent on Damian Lillard and his chemistry with Giannis. It is, completely on Giannis. And he was leading in points per game. He was second in points per game last year until he got hurt. So I think that this is a pretty safe bet, and it's pretty good money at plus 600.
Yeah, Giannis, you bank on Giannis. That guy is money in the bank as far as production goes. especially points and rebounds. He's really good for that. The interesting thing there was I saw on the DraftKings Sportsbook, there was a bet for him to lead the league in both scoring and rebounding. And I was like, oh, that looks tantalizing, but it doesn't happen often. So, or at least not in the modern NBA. So that would have been really risky. I like that. I like him to lead the league in scoring. I think you can safely project to see that happening.
Yeah, thank you. All right, what do you have?
Well, since we're in points per game leaders, or points per or whatever per game leaders. There you go. He speaks English. I'm gonna go to Indiana, Tyrese Halliburton to lead the league in assists per game at plus 175 on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Charlotte, amazingly, incredibly, he doesn't have the best odds at leading the league in assists. There's someone else on the list who the odds makers have as more likely, or at least have the best odds of doing it, and it's Trae Young. And I can see the thinking, because obviously DeJounte Murray's no longer there. So now Trae Young becomes the sole point guard all over again. But the other side of it, I'm like, yeah, DeJounte Murray's no longer there. So this guy's going to be shooting more than ever in terms of trying to generate offense for this team. They've got a rookie and the number one overall pick, Zachary Rissache. I mean, I just don't know why Trae Young would be the answer as opposed to Halliburton, who we all accept this is the best pure point guard in the league. They play the fastest, or one of the fastest offenses in the league. They are one of the most efficient offenses in the history of the NBA. How is this not the pick?
I know. When you said that, I just had the image of Halliburton just shoot it like I see it in my head. I see his insane passes. I also I feel like the Pacers might be the least memorable Eastern Conference Finals competitor in the past couple of years, because so many of the other teams were hurt, and it's the Pacers. Like, people forget that they were in the Eastern Conference Finals with me. Maybe not Indiana. I haven't heard anyone talk.
Spoken like someone who lives in a Knick household.
Oh, no, come on. This does not have to do. Let me finish.
For the rest of the country. Let me just explain what I said. Let me explain what I just said so the rest of the country's like, what do you mean? For everyone outside of the tri-state area, this explanation is for you. They seem, because it was the first good season they've had in a million years, they think they went to the conference finals. Hell, they think they went to the finals. So, I understand. And by the way, Charlotte is married to a huge Knicks fan. So she's being bombarded all day long with this bravado and hubris, especially after the Karl-Anthony Towns deal. That's why Indiana to Charlotte is such a forgettable conference finalist.
That is not. I did not even have the Knicks in my head when I said that. I was thinking about the Celtics, because the whole conversation was that this was a cakewalk. Everybody was hurt, blah, blah, blah. I think people think about the Knicks and the Sixers more than they think about the Pacers in general. I'm just saying, I'm trying to back up your point that Tyrese Halliburton is being disrespected here.
And I'm going to back up my point a little bit more. People in Charlotte's bubble, a.k.a. her house, think about the Knicks and the Sixers, because that's the series that the Knicks won. So that's the biggest series in the history of New York right now.
What do you think?
They talk about it all the time.
Okay, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to go to my fifth bet. My fifth bet is that the Pistons are going to have the fewest regular season wins at plus 850. I mean, it blows my mind that there are 3 other teams in the entire NBA with better odds to win the fewest games. We've got Portland at plus 320. We have Washington at plus 255. And we have Brooklyn, the favorite to have the fewest regular season wins, at plus 160. And I just think, I do not see a world in which do people have amnesia about how bad the Pistons set a new losing streak last year. I don't see that changing anytime soon. I mean, I think that at plus 850, this is look, I know they have Cade Cunningham. Okay.
And they added Tobias Harris, and they've got a new coach, JB Bickerstaff. So a lot of people are kind of thinking, you know what? T. Williams never wanted that job to begin with. So he I won't say he mailed it in, but it was just kind of that's not quite kind of what he was looking for. right? So it's like you got a new coach, invigorated guy who's got a track record of developing young talent in JB Bickerstaff. You've got some, you've added some firepower to Tobias Harris for all the shit he gets in Philadelphia. The guy is a pretty good scorer, and he's going to be an opportunity here to be a number 2 or maybe even a number 1 scorer. Kate Cunningham is more of a something. I say this to say I get how Detroit is in the mix. I don't get how Brooklyn has a better Brooklyn. Come on, man.
Ben Simmons, he says he's healthy. He says this is his year. We've never heard that before.
And then Washington, for me, Washington should be minus odds.
Yeah.
They're awful. There's nothing that's going to change my mind about that unless they make a massive. Well, they got Valanciunas and they got Malcolm Brogdon, which means those guys are going to get traded at some point this season, and then the Wizards are going to get even worse. But I digress. Let's stay towards the bottom of the Eastern Conference. Haha, this is me foreshadowing. Talk about the Atlanta Hawks. And you know what, Charlotte? What a bad team environment is. It is a perfect environment for rookies to put up numbers. And I think Zachary Visachet, Rookie of the Year, plus 900. That's my pick right there. I'm not even going to bore you with the particulars of the other members of the rookie class who might be better in better situations, whatever. I just know Atlanta doesn't have a lot of options. And he's a big, so plays alongside Trae Young. Maybe Trae Young's got to throw a couple lobs this way. Maybe he's going to have some highlights. Maybe he's going to look. Maybe I just pulled the pick out of my ass. Sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, you just got to do it like that. Zachary Visachet, Rookie of the Year. You heard it here first.
We also all know that you are Zach Edey's number 1 disrespecter. So you have to put your money where your mouth is.
Okay. So this is very simple. I'll address the Zach Edey stuff head on. Like, one guy is going to play on a team that's going to win like 30 some odd games and go to the play-in and get their head bashed in. Meaning, like, there isn't a whole lot of, wait a second, we've got to sit the young guy and play our vets. That's going to happen in Atlanta. It's just not going to happen. Meanwhile, the other guy plays for a team that very realistically could compete for a Western Conference title.
Yeah.
And he's out here like, look, the game is already fast for any rookie, right? Their heads on, like, oh my God, they're spinning around. You want to up it and say how fast it's going to be for a slow rookie? For a guy who literally lacks the foot speed to move laterally or vertically, mind you, or like up and down the court, any which way direction. He's not quick. I think we can all agree to that. So that plus, hey, we're actually trying to win here. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't see it.
What are you most excited for in the East as we have our final boards here? Let's see. Amin, I'm going to read through these. Paolo Banchero to average 25 plus points per game. Philly wins more than New York. Bam wins Defensive Player of the Year. Tyrese Halliburton is the assist per game leader. Zachary Visachet wins Rookie of the Year. On my side, you've got Boston will have the most wins. Haha, surprise, surprise. The New York Knicks are going to win the NBA Cup. Cleveland is going to be in the play-in. Giannis will be the points per game leader. And Detroit will have the fewest wins. Is there anything here that you think points to what you're most excited about in the East?
Yeah, I mean, I'm most excited about Bam winning Depoy. I think it's long overdue just for that. But also, I think those are great odds. Plus 1,300. What's not to like? And then on your side, I want to see Cleveland like not be in the play-in because, again, is Atlanta going to be better? Are the Knicks going to be better? I mean, is Atlanta going to be better? Are the Bulls going to be better? These are the teams that are going to supplant them? Come on.
Yeah, well, maybe I didn't think that one through, but it would be fun to see it happen because that would mean we had some real shakeups. And I just want to say the thing I'm most excited about is for the stuff we could not even imagine happening because every year that happens. And Charlotte, I can't wait to see what it is.
Speaking of not imagine, I know we only got a couple of seconds left here, but there was a bet on the board at DraftKings Sportsbook. Celtics to three-peat.
Oh,
and the odds weren't even that great. It wasn't even that amazing. It was like,
it was like plus 1,000 or something. It
was pretty tame.
It is so hard to repeat, let alone three-peat. We just saw the Aces try to do it. But we will be back tomorrow with our Western Conference picks.